Welcome, everybody. Hope you're doing well. I'm Brian Jones, and I'm a trainer in heartfulness. And this is my little corner of the um, social media world out there called the Join Real Time. So, welcome. And I see that some people are starting to join in. So, I am streaming live onto Facebook and onto YouTube, onto the Heartfulness channel. So, uh, welcome. So let me just say that if you are uh, attending here for the first time, or you're returning here again to listen in, if you'd like to put your name and where you're from into the chat, I would love to see who's tuning in today. That would be wonderful. So Mahima, I know, I know you're always here. I really appreciate you and appreciate that you're tuning in. Anantha Krishnan, welcome. Good morning. Welcome. So today I'm going to be talking about a topic that we can all really relate to this. Okay, and the topic is change, and the subtitle is not being afraid to try new directions. And I remember, a long time ago, someone told me, and this is when I was young, they said, if you don't take chances when you're young, you won't take chances when you're old. And what they meant by this is they meant that as we get older, we prize security. We like to feel secure. We don't want anything to disrupt, our life pattern, our comfort zone. And look, everybody has to have a comfort zone. That's a very important thing. But as we get older, we get sort of set in our ways. And if we are working the same career, doing the same thing, we've been doing it for a long period of time, there's a comfort in that. And then when you have a family and you're raising a family, being settled in to your life becomes very important. And if anything happens that upsets that, it can become very disruptive and very disturbing. Okay. All right. So that's one thing. And so that's just an observation. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just an observation of how our society has evolved itself. It's interesting when you look at some of the tribal peoples who are nomadic. Okay, their lives are all about adapting continually to changing seasons, moving the animals here and there, moving from the pasture lands to, the forest or wherever it is. It's different in each part of the world. So that is a life where change itself is the comfort zone. Okay. You take someone like this and to put them in an environment where they are not able to make those changes would be equally as disastrous to someone who wants to stay in one situation. So, when we look at all of life and everything we're involved with, it's not really this or that, it has to do with just everyone adapting and finding what's best for themselves. Okay, now let me put a twist on this that I think is happening. Well, I don't think it is. I'm very sure that there's a great change happening in the world right now, and there's a lot, and it's manifesting in many ways. One way it's manifesting is a lot of unrest, unfortunately, and but the other way it's manifesting is there's a rise in spirituality and spiritual thinking. People are searching for something that is something new for them, something out of the box. And the reason they're searching is because, as the world is just getting so chaotic and so hard to navigate. Everyone's trying to find a grounding place, somewhere they can settle into and be comfortable in. And the reality is that the only place where we can find true security in our life is here in the heart. It's inside of us. The external world, we will always be subject to changes in the environment, things that are unexpected. But in the inner world, the inner environment, change is going on all the time. And what I want to say today, and this is something I was thinking about earlier this morning, something I've been observing, is that somehow I'm feeling that. Well, before I say this, let me set this up. You've heard me give talks about change. You know, I'm not a big fan of the idea of, we're always talking about, oh, I've got to change this, I've got to change that. And if you've listened to some of my talks, you know that I'm not a fan of that. I think that change is a result. And what really has to happen is that we're growing. And when you grow, change is the result. So instead of having the mindset, oh, I really want to change this, I really want to change that, then we're setting ourselves up for failure. We're setting ourselves up for continual struggle and continual discontent, because we always feel like we got to change something or change into something. So instead, if we realize, oh, wait, change is a result of growth, then we can focus on growing, which is natural to us. We're growing all the time. And as we grow, if we can continue to really grow effortlessly, change should manifest on its own. And what I believe is happening right now is that I think that there is so much growth, inner growth, so much growth happening in the spiritual dimension. And I'm using the word spiritual, but I could just say another dimension, okay? There's so much growth happening on this other dimension in us that we are incapable of manifesting that growth and as a result, manifesting change. Okay, it's happening so fast. We're evolving internally so fast into other dimensions of consciousness, expansion of consciousness, that our awareness is not able to keep pace with the growth that's happening. And as a result, it's frustrating for us to manifest change in ourselves or to let this change manifest. And, part of that is what I stated earlier, is because we get set in our ways, we get set from our environment. So, it's interesting to think about in all of these things. And I think it brings each one of us to a point where we have to sit down and maybe take a little time off and to say, where is it that I want to be in life? What is it that fulfills me? What is it really? And dream big. What is it that I really would like to do? I think we've gotten so caught up in the world that sometimes we've forgotten to ask ourselves honestly this very all-important question is, what do I want to be? What do I want to do in life? What fulfills me? It's not selfish. It's not selfish. It's an inner longing to sort of be on your life's path, to understand you're on your life's path, and to be able to work towards bringing that to some sense of fulfillment. And I'm not talking about money. I'm just not. Money is necessary, and some people are really good at making money. Other people just, it doesn't seem to work out for them. So, but money isn't the whole thing here. It's what gives you your inner heart's fulfillment. What is that? I invite you all to take a weekend, take a couple of days, don't do anything, and just sit with this in an honest way and dive into yourself and say, what is my heart's longing? What's my heart's purpose? What do I really want to do in life? Okay. Then comes the part of, well, if there's something that you discover, then how are you going to go about doing that? So I want to read something here. And I'm a fan of this little book that the Mission, Heartfulness, actually publishes a version of this called As a Man Thinketh. And there's also some new versions of this, As We Thinketh, as, just As You Thinketh. There's some different versions that are brought out online in a modern language, because this book was written back in the beginning of the 1900s. So the language is a little bit antiquated, but there's some new versions online that you can find that are, just a newer, more universal language, are really beautiful. So what I want to do is I'm going to read something from James Allen, who, in my opinion, he lived in England. In my opinion, this man was a great yogi, more than a philosopher. He wasn't just philosophizing. This was someone who had true insight and could express it in a way that was so vivid and clear. And he lived during the time of Lalaji and Swami Vivekananda. Okay, so I think that he was catching the wave. I think that this is someone who was catching the early growth cycle and was able to find their life's purpose through writing and bringing out these thoughts, to the Western world. So let me read this, and it relates to the topic of today. The dreamers are the saviors of the world. As the visible world is sustained by the invisible, so men, through all their trials and sins and sordid vocations, are nourished by the beautiful visions of their solitary dreamers. Humanity cannot forget its dreamers. It cannot let their ideals fade and die. It lives in them. It knows them in the realities which it shall one day see and know. Composer, sculptor, painter, poet, prophet, sage. These are the makers of the afterworld, the architects of heaven. The world is beautiful because they have lived. Without them, laboring humanity would perish. He who cherishes a beautiful vision, a lofty ideal in his heart, will one day realize it. Columbus cherished a vision of another world, and he discovered it. Copernicus fostered the vision of a multiplicity of worlds and a wider universe, and he revealed it. Buddha beheld the vision of a spiritual world of stainless beauty and perfect peace, and he entered into it. Wow. So this book, As a Man Thinketh, or we could say As You Thinketh, or As We Thinketh, this is all about finding the purpose of our heart. letting us dream that, and then making it a reality through our actions. So it's not about whether it's hard or easy. It's all about a logical process, which is very similar to heartfulness, okay, where we're cleaning away our past so that we're no longer conditioned by it. So that frees us up to have an unconditioned future, a future that, as Daji says, we can, create a destiny for ourselves. All right. So, so along these lines, first I want to say this last week, my granddaughter got married, and last Wednesday, and she's really a unique person, and she's her own person, and she has sort of her own vision of her life, and she's moving towards that in her own unique way, and I gotta admire that. And so she married someone who's in the military service, and he's stationed in the Netherlands, and so they're going to be moving together to the Netherlands. And she's one of 4 grandchildren that I have, and each of them, when I get to spend time with them and see how uniquely different they are from each other, it's really interesting, because they sort of know their heart's purpose in a way. They don't know how that's going to manifest yet, because they're young, but they're young, but they're all taller than me. These are big, big kids. But it reminds me, when I spend time with them, it reminds me that that even in my own life, I have to take time every so often and regroup, and that's one of the things I'm going to mention today, is that. So I'm at that point. I'm at that point now where I need to regroup. I've been pushing pretty hard for quite a number of years now. In bringing out heartfulness is what I spend almost all my time doing. In fact, I just calculated this morning that just this past year, I've 365 days in a year. Just this past year, I've done 280 live sessions. 280. So when I look at that, in the other sessions, my viewers today, you don't know about the other things that I do. In fact, very few people know, but I do a lot in bringing the word of heartfulness out to the world and around the world. And right now, I've reached about 75 countries doing that. And I spend a lot of time talking with people from all over the world, and a lot of people who need help. And so that's been sort of my life's work for the past 7-8 years now. And, just coming to a point where I feel like I have to regroup myself and step back for a little bit, reorganize. And I have some other visions, and I'm not sure I have all of the ways and means and technology to achieve those things, those new visions, new dreams, new moving forward for my own life, and what I can, do and fulfill what fulfills my heart, which is, talking about spirituality and heartfulness and being of service to the mission and to our spiritual guide Daji, is most importantly. And I've been blessed to be in a situation where in the work that I'm doing, I can talk about my experience with the masters. I can talk about the masters. Even the West, that hasn't been a popular thing for a long time. It's becoming more open now, a bit, not that much, but a little bit. But for me, I've been able to do that and talk about my journey with the masters. And I want to take that further because the results have been there. It's been very fulfilling to see that. So with saying this, where am I going with this? So I've decided that I'm going to take a break from this weekly session that we're doing, this YouTube show on Mondays. I'm going to take a break for probably a couple of months. And the other reason is that at the end of this month, I'm going to be going to Colombia, South America. I was invited there, and some of the group that I work with has also been invited, and they really want to go. So there's about maybe 15 of us or so that are going down to support the South American Heartfulness mission and attend their gathering for Babaji's birthday celebration. So I'm really looking forward to that. So as that's coming up, I feel like it's a good time to take a break from this and a couple other things that I'm doing. And I'm going to spend that time down there, being introspective and making a sort of a new plan. Because I just feel that a lot of growth is happening for myself. And I don't think I'm manifesting the change in that because I've been doing the same things for so long. And so I feel like I'm ready for the next phase, the next expression of what I should be doing in my life. And to do that, I need to regroup a bit. So that's my plan. Okay, so today will be my last show for at least a couple of months, and I think this may come back in a different form. So I don't think I'm not disappearing, but I'm doing what I'm suggesting all of us do, is taking time out and rethinking about your heart's purpose and not being afraid to pursue that, and if it requires making some changes, then, that takes some courage. It does. So now I'm going to skip to the end of this chapter that I began reading, and the chapter is called Visions and Ideals. Now I'm going to skip to the last two paragraphs of this chapter, and we're going to hear what James Allen suggests. In all human affairs, there are efforts, and there are results, and the strength of the effort is the measure of the result. Chance is not. Gifts, powers, material, intellectual, and spiritual possessions are the fruits of effort. They are thoughts completed, objects accomplished, visions realized. The vision, capital V, the vision that you glorify in your mind, the ideal that you enthrone in your heart, this you will build your life by. This you will become. Wow. I mean, that is powerful. That is so powerful. I mean, this guy is a lion, James Allen. This guy is a lion. I mean, when I think of all the times I spent with Chariji, and Chariji always talked about, he wants lions, not sheep. You know, uh, I can imagine how much he appreciated the writings of James Allen, because Chariji was also such a lion, too. So, all right. Oh, and so I just look over at the screen now and I see Carolina Barrero from Bogota, from Colombia, and I was on the phone with her the other day, and so what a delightful person. And Carolina, I'm so glad that you're attending today, and uh, I was so delighted to talk to you, and I'm so uh, and all of us, I just want you to know that all of us who are coming we are so excited about coming down and uh, and being with you all for Babaji's birthday. It was something we're all looking forward to. So we'll see you. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. So and let's see. I just want to say hello to whoever else is tuning in here today. Rachita, Michael, welcome, and Swati. And Swati says, wishing you the best on all your upcoming projects and expressions. We'll miss listening to you on this channel. Yeah, well, look, just remember, I'm not saying I'm going to vanish. I'm saying I'm going to um, go into the cocoon. All right. Again, I've been to a lot of cocoons in my life. I'm going to go in the cocoon again and see how I emerge. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. So, with that, my dear friends, I think it's time for us to go into our cocoon right now and meditate together. Because every time we meditate, we go inside. We're going into the cocoon. Okay. We're going into the cocoon. We're dissolving everything about ourselves that we think we are. And we're just letting ourselves dissolve. And when we come out of the meditation, as we all know, we come out without any questions. We feel fresh. We feel rejuvenated, and we don't have to pronounce, oh, I'm new. But, the reason we have to do it over and over and over again, okay, is that we have to slowly retrain our mind, all right? And we have to allow ourselves then to rest on that condition we experience after the meditation. As we've come out of the cocoon like a newborn, opening our eyes, taking a moment to see, how do I feel, and rest on that and just allow ourselves to be new in that moment without any agenda. All right. So let's meditate together. Please sit comfortably. And let's close our eyes. Okay, let's start by taking a slow, deep breath in. And let it go. Feel your body is relaxing. Let your shoulders relax and drop down. Now let your arms relax. Relax your palms and fingers. Now let's bring our attention to the area of the heart. Feel the heart area is just softening. And feel the lightness there. Now let's rest on the source of this lightness, the source of our light that's already present in the heart. Feel the source in your heart is inviting you homeward. That's all. Just be with that feeling in the heart. And as our thoughts start to return, that's okay. Just stay resting on this presence in the heart and let it carry you through your day. Okay, everybody. Thank you for attending today. Pam, Maya, thank you so much for being here. And with that, I will say I will see you again at some point. And until then, stay with the heart. All the best.